Hey guys, how's it going? This is Felix again, and I'm back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video today. This time, I'm bringing you a deck profile from one of my friends. It's actually a Crystron deck profile, and his name is Blake.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, so he's got Crystrons for you guys today. You want to say anything, Blake?
I don't know. This deck is really fun. I enjoy it. I like it, I think, because you have so many options. You're never out of plays. You always have something you can do, at least, to combat your opponent. A couple apologies here in the beginning. First of all, the sleeve color is kind of gross. I don't love the color combo. I'm hoping to get some new sleeves here soon. And also, there's going to be quite a few proxies in here, just because we had an order on TCG Player that didn't end up going through. So hopefully we'll get those here soon, but we can probably just get right into it.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so the first Crystron that we're playing is Crystron Sulfefnir. This one's really fun. I like it a lot. You can open up a lot of plays with it. If you guys don't know what it does, you can ditch a Crystron from your hand to special summon it from your hand or your grave. Then when it comes out, you have to pop a card on the field. Normally you're going to target itself, and when you pop it, you can special summon any Crystron card or monster out of the deck, so that's pretty nice. Gets your plays started. Next is Smyger. Smyger, you're playing basically to get easy access to Crystron Impact. And we'll get into that, but otherwise, I mean, Smyger doesn't have too much usefulness other than being a Crystron name and on 3 levels. You're gonna be playing 3 Thistvern, so Smyger searches your trap, and Thistvern will search any Crystron monster card, which is obviously really helpful. Also, I think it looks the coolest out of all of them. Citri is probably your best tuner. It's level 2. Citri's effect is that you can special summon any Crystron from the grave and then sync with it, and when you sync them, they both get banished. Crystron is usually the one you're going to be bringing out, especially it's really important for the Quarion Gandrax combo. Phraseordle, until Needlefiber comes out, I would recommend playing it at 2. It's also really important for the Quarion Gandrax combo, just because it's a level 2. You're not going to use its grave effect too much, I don't think. I mean, you use it sometimes, but not terribly often. Normally it's just in there to summon with Citri. 2 Rion. You don't use Rion a whole lot, but mid to late game it's helpful because you'll have a bunch of banished Crystrons, and also it's helpful because it's a level 3 tuner, so it synergizes really well with Ties of the Brethren. So you'll bring out usually a Rion, a Steam Synchron, and one of your other level 3 Crystrons if you want to make Quarion Gandrax, because then you have the the 2 tuners. Otherwise, yeah, it's not great. Definitely not the best tuner. It's better than Quan though, generally speaking. I don't actually know why I play Quan. I like the way he looks. And I mean, there's a little bit more to it than that, I guess. His being level 1 sometimes comes in handy. You only play it at 1 because you don't want to open it, and opening it or drawing it mid to late game is alright. Like I said, it gives you some more options, which is what I really like about this deck. You play 1 Rosnik, it's kind of the same thing. It's not the best, but it also gives you more options. I think once Needlefiber comes out, this will be more relevant probably, because the token that it gives you is helpful for link summoning, since you can use it to summon Needlefiber. So I play Rosnix at 1 right now, but when Needlefiber comes out, that will probably maybe move to 2. It has some good synergy too with Undyne, which we haven't got to yet, but because you can use the token for Link Spider, and then Link Spider brings out the controller that you searched from Undyne, and then that becomes a Needlefiber. So there's some decent synergy with Undyne, which is the next card. This is basically one of your play starters. You're going to use it to foolish any of your Crystron monsters from the deck to the grave in order to gain access to their grave effects. So it is a really helpful card in that regard. You have to play the 1 controller. You really don't want to draw it because it's the equivalent of drawing Garnet, and it really sucks when you draw it, especially if you open it with an Undyne, because the Undyne in your hand is dead. You're not going to do anything with the controller. Until, like I said, Needlefiber comes out, maybe you can bring out Link Spider and then use its effect to bring out Controller and make Needlefiber, but Until then, you really don't want to draw the controller under any circumstances. Scrap Recycler is going to serve the same purpose as Undyne, so you're going to be able to use Recycler to mill any of your Crystron monsters in order to gain access to their grave effects. I mentioned earlier Steam Synchron. You really only play this for the Ties of the Brethren combo. It is really nice that you're not limited to summoning a machine synchro. So this does give you access to something like Trishula if you do want to summon Trish. Jet Synchron, I don't know, this is something you could probably replace with something else if you wanted. I am playing Excel Synchron on the Extra at the moment, so it gives you some more options, again, and that's what I said I like about this deck. Ties of the Brethren is pretty straightforward. You'll use it on any of your level 3 water machines, so you can use it on Steam Synchron, Amatrix, or Amethyst, or Thisfern, any of your level 3s, Smyger, and then it opens up immediately for next turn either a Quarion Gandrax or a Trishula, which is really nice to open. It's usually not going to be dead since you do have a lot of those 3s in the deck. Twin Twisters, just to take care of that back row. You really don't like Solemns in this deck because you're going to be special summoning a lot, so Twin Twisters are helpful for that. Foolish Burial, you can tell that's one of the proxies. This is just another one of your mill cards to get quicker access to your graveyard effects. The one Monster Reborn, because if you don't run it, there's something wrong with you, probably. Different Dimension Deep Sea Trench. I only have this at 1 right now. I'm playing around with it. It's a really interesting tech card in the deck. It opens up some plays, gives you options. So I do like it. It makes your plays pretty complicated and you have to think a lot when you use it, so that's always fun. Crystron Impact. This card is really good. This is also integral in the Quarion Gandrax combo. Basically, it enables you to special summon one of your banished Crystron monsters. So you can, usually you're going to be bringing back something to summon Quarion Gandrax or one of your Synchros, but I mean, you can also bring back a Sulfefnir that you've banished maybe, and then that floats, so you have more options there. Survivability. Also, if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it so that none of your Crystron monsters can be targeted by card effects, which is really helpful. Also, when you activate its effect on the field, it drops your opponent's defense to 0, which is only probably going to be relevant if you bring out Amatrix, because Amatrix will flip all of their monsters into defense position, so that those synergize really well. Nice. You don't usually get that combo. Sometimes you do, and it's always nice. Otherwise, just the Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment. You can play strikes if you want. These are just, these are working for me right now, so this is probably what I'm going to stick with. So I suppose we can probably get into the extra deck.
Man, well, it seems pretty solid. It seems pretty consistent till now.
Yeah, it is really consistent. You're going to be able probably to summon Quarion Gandrax turn 1 most of the time, or I guess turn 2. I should have mentioned, you always want to go first in this deck, no matter what, because you do all of your stuff on your opponent's turn, so you're going to be syncing on your opponent's turn, which makes this deck really unique, I think, among Synchro decks, and it also gives it a lot of disruption, which is always nice. So you're going to be playing 2 Quandax. Quandax is, it's just a level 4 Synchro tuner, basically. You can also use it, obviously, to tune or to Synchro on your opponent's turn. You're not limited, thankfully, with Quandax to machine-type Synchro monsters. So with Quandax, you can go into any of the Black Roses, either of them. You can go into Trishula, whatever you want, which I really like the freedom that Quandax gives you. And he looks pretty sweet. Chambara. This is just to up your OTK potential. Chambara enables you to deal a lot more damage than you would otherwise, so it's nice to bring out occasionally the other level 5, and it's machine, so it can be summoned by any of your Crystron Tuners effects. Amatrix is I mentioned it earlier. It's nice. I don't summon it too much. You're mostly going to summon it if you don't have anything better to do on your opponent's turn and you need to stall for a turn, because you can bring it out in the battle phase and it'll flip all of your opponent's monsters into defense position, so they won't be able to attack you. Some people play Amatrix at more than one. I probably wouldn't recommend it. Samurai Destroyer. I was pretty glad when this card came out because there wasn't any other really solid machine type level 7 synchro monsters, but this gives you a good, reliable target for a machine type synchro from your Crystron tuners. Its effect is pretty decent. I mean, it has an Armades effect, and then if it does leave the field, you can special summon any machine type monster from your graveyard, so that's always nice as well. Yep. Black Rose Dragon, of course. It's just really nice to be able to Black Rose on your opponent's turn. Although, do be careful because it's pretty easy to miss timing. So it does say when this card is synchro summoned. So if its summon is not the last thing to resolve on the field, you're not going to be able to get its effect, which is really frustrating when you forget that. And then Black Rose Moonlight. Black Rose Moonlight is not when, it is if. So you're not going to miss timing on its effect. This card is really nice against, let's say, ABC decks, any deck that's going to be trying to turbo out a level 5 or higher monster, because once they do get it on the field, you can just spin it back to the hand, which is really nice. So on summon, you'll be able to return any special summon monster to the hand, and then from then on, once per turn, if they summon a level 5 or higher, you can spin it back to the hand, so that's always helpful as well. This card is my favorite card in the entire deck. Main deck, extra deck, whatever. I love it. It's awesome. It's broken, I think. It looks amazing. So basically, if you don't know what White Aura Whale does, and you probably don't because not a whole lot of decks have access to it, because it does require a water tuner and non-tuner water monsters. When it comes out, you can destroy all of your opponent's attack position monsters, so that's always nice. It can make 2 attacks during the battle phase, and it does piercing damage. So it has all those nice board clearing, damage effects. So of course this works quite nicely too if you've resolved a Crystron Impact, because you're going to be able to attack twice into that 0 defense and do piercing both times. Additionally, it's very difficult for them to get rid of unless they banish it or something like that, because if it is destroyed by your opponent's card, that is card effect or battle, you can banish another water monster from the graveyard to special summon it, and if you do, it becomes a tuner. That's really nice because it's not once per turn. So every time they destroy it, however many times in a turn they're able to destroy it, you can special summon it back by banishing water monsters from the grave. That's always really nice, and of course that gets it out of the extra monster zone, so it's not taking up space anymore. Quarion Gandrax, it's kind of the primary boss monster of this deck. It's really nice. Basically, on summon, it banishes 3 of your opponent's monsters that is on the field or from the graveyard. So really nice disruption there. Additionally, if it leaves the field by battle or card effect, you can special summon any banished monster card. So that includes the monsters that you banish from your opponent's field or graveyard on summon. So that's really nice if they have a really good boss monster out or something like that. You can banish it, and then once it leaves the field, you can special summon that monster to your side of the field. The other nice thing about it is that its effect can be triggered by your own card effects. So all of the non-tuner Crystron monsters have the ability where you can pop 1 monster on your side of the field in order to special summon a tuner out of the deck. And you can pop Quarion Gandrax to basically bring out a tuner and bring out any banished monster from either zone. So that's really helpful as well, that it's not just opponent's card effect. Powered Inzektron is your level 6 machine target. Again, this is a card that you're only going to summon if you really need to. It just gives you a lot of survivability. So it's not going to be able to be destroyed by battle or card effect once you summon it, and you can't take any damage that turn. So, I mean, that's helpful if you're, going to get OTK'd. You can just put an end to that and give yourself another turn to fight back. Trishula, everybody knows what this card does. It's always nice to be able to summon this, especially on your opponent's turn. Do be aware, though, it is a when card as well. So you need to be careful about when you're summoning it. Don't chain Citri or Quandax or whatever to a card effect of your opponents, because you're going to miss timing on this, because when it comes out it will not be the last thing on the field to resolve. White Aura Dolphin, it's a smaller version of White Aura Whale, although it does have its differences and its own uses. So it is going to have the same ability to bring itself back by banishing water monsters from the grave. Also, it becomes a tuner when you do that, which is really helpful. But also, it has the ability where you can target an opponent's monster and have its attack. So that will help you get over things that otherwise would have been really annoying for you, because you don't have too many big monsters that you can get out. I mean, Quarion Gandrax is probably the biggest one you're going to get out, and it's at 3,000. As you guys know, there's a lot of things in this game that are higher and bigger than 3,000, so White Aura Dolphin is going to enable you to get over those. Excel Synchron, this card just makes a lot more plays possible. It extends plays, gives you access to Beals. I know Beals is getting reprinted, and that's the primary target for me for Excel Synchron, since it does require a Dark Tuner. So being able to have access to Beals pretty easily is really nice. I don't have that yet because it has not been reprinted, and I don't have $1 billion to fork over for that. Crystal Wing, everybody probably knows what that does as well for the most part. It's nice to be able to get that out. It's not terribly difficult either, so that's nice to have access to. And then Miss Starboy, the one link monster we're playing. This will definitely not be in the deck anymore once Needlefiber comes out. Again, this is another option if there's monsters on your opponent's side of the field that have attack that's too high for you to deal with. You can boost your monsters up, and with Quarion Gandrax at 3,000, then push to 35, usually you're going to be able to get over whatever your opponent has. It going to the graveyard and you being able to add a water monster back to your hand does come in handy sometimes as well. So do not forget that. I sometimes do, and then I don't activate its effect. But it is helpful, especially for your tuners or something like that, or an Amatrix or whatever. Alright, but that wraps it up. I don't have a side deck, although I guess I should say something about these two cards for the extra deck. Phoenix, it's a really cool card. It's just really difficult to get out right now without Needlefiber. Once Needlefiber comes out, it will become cake. It will be super easy to get out. It absolutely destroys Paleo or any back row heavy deck. It banishes every spell trap on the field and in the graveyard. So it's really crazy. Really easy to get out once Needlefiber. Okay. Yeah, once Needlefiber comes out, it'll be super easy to get out, and that's really nice. But until then, it's nearly impossible in Master Rule 4. It's not gonna happen often enough to merit dedicating the extra deck space to it. Cleaver Genius, I mean, I have that here basically just to tell you that you can run it if you want to. It is helpful with the monster effect negation. I don't think I've ever summoned it. I will usually go into Miss Starboy just because I prefer the attack and the floating kind of, but it's an option for you if you're into that. But yeah, like I said, I don't have a side deck, so that'll be it.
All right. Any final thoughts, Blake?
I hope Needlefiber doesn't cost $1 million, because I really want to play this deck, and it's not going to be at its potential until Needlefiber comes out. But once it does come out, I do think that this deck has potential to be a little competitive. So.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, that's it for the deck profile, guys. If you guys have any comments or any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. If you found this video helpful, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. But anyways, that'll be it for the deck profile, guys. Thank you for watching. And yeah, have a great day, guys.
Thanks, guys.